Ignore the overpriced Pokemon cards because within this video, I am revealing the 10 best Pokemon cards which are currently under 10 USD. And believe me, these won't always be so affordable. Though before we get into this video, I'm super excited to be gifting this Gengar Trainer Gallery from Lost Origin. Now to be selected, if I reply to your comment with this magical shiny Magikarp emoji, then well done, this card will be sent your way. And if you are new to the channel and we haven't met, hi, my name's Phil. I run this Pokemon investing and collecting channel. I try to simplify the world of Pokemon collectibles, so definitely feel free to subscribe to the channel. And yeah, just a bit of a side note, but this Magikarp is one of the new emojis that I've officially signed off, and I just straight up love it. Let's hope it ends up on one of your comments. Though, you know, expensive cards are always exciting, though there is a place for affordable cards as well, because sometimes, right, these cheaper cards can also start climbing up as well. I mean, there was a time when the Cleffa from Obsidian Flames was like $4, or the Ninetales from Obsidian Flames, it was like once only $8. So filling a binder with some of these cards can be a really unique strategy. Though there's also been examples of some cards being $4 and then ballooning all the way up to $80, which I will speak more about throughout this video as well. Though I think it's also important to know that there's also some not so fun things that these low price cards can encounter, as they are highly susceptible to market manipulation. Though I'm going to explain more about that a little bit later on in the video, as I need to give more context how that even happens in the first place. Though, starting at number 10, we have the Sunflora from Twilight Masquerade. Now, Twilight Masquerade is en route to have a reprint on the way, though this Sunflora is currently a great price, and honestly, it looks pretty awesome. Now, I actually pulled this card myself, and I have to admit, when seeing it in person, it's a great artwork, man. I mean, Twilight Masquerade has some amazing illustration rares, and usually when cards are priced this fairly, they're not in that much risk of dipping too much in price. I mean, something like the Greninja and the Eevee are far more prone to this, as they have pretty high price points, right? So it will be interesting to see where this one falls. Now at number 9, we have the Latias from Crown Zenith. So this Latias from Crown Zenith really is a great artwork, and it's still priced pretty fairly. We've had a few of the others really climb up from Crown Zenith, such as the Galarian Gallery Mew, though, you know, Latias has a very strong history and a very dedicated fan base within Pokemon. So cards like this always have a solid position within the market. I obviously don't like to say you can't lose on buying a certain Pokemon card, right? Because that's never the case. Nothing is guaranteed, though given the fact it is priced so fairly, I do think this is an awesome pickup for under 10 bucks. Though there is actually some exciting news, as I've teamed up with Collector and we are both giving away this Japanese PSA 10 Umbreon Master Ball Reverse Holo from Terrestrial Festival. You can actually enter the giveaway on my Discord, which is in the description of this video. Now today's video sponsor is the Collector app. Collector is a collectible portfolio manager which allows you to easily add your collection within the app. Also, if you do upgrade to the Pro version, you can also access the Max tab, which allows you to extend pricing data past 1 year. So this is actually really useful, as you can track how the Pokemon market moves through all the seasons like any other form of investment, because Pokemon is cyclical by nature. Also, another cool aspect of the Pro version is that you can actually simply scan your cards in the app and then it will add it to your portfolio, which makes it super easy to fill up your collection. Definitely feel free to download the Collector app. The link to download the app is within the description of this video. Now moving on to number 8, we have the Pachirisu illustration rare from Scarlet and Violet base. Now Pachirisu is a classic, though this artwork is really great and an awesome card to add to your collection. One thing I personally love about illustration rares is that if you add these to your binder, they actually start making a collection really stand out. Now, traditionally, artworks like this would cost a fortune to fill up a binder, though with the introduction of Galarian Gallery cards, trainer galleries, and now illustration rares, binders can now look incredible and it won't cost you thousands of dollars to get a few nice pages. Now, this Pachirisu is a really great example of a fairly priced illustration rare, and there's a bit of history with this Pokemon, right? Don't forget that back in 2014, Sejun Park from South Korea famously won Worlds with a Pachirisu in his team, which has become an iconic win that's still heavily discussed to this day. Now in number 7, at Pokemon cards currently under 10 USD that are really good to have in your collection, we have the Aegislash from Paradox Rift. I mean, dude, this artwork is incredible. It's a very well designed artwork, and to me, it looks like a standout illustration rare. Obviously, when it comes to illustration rares, they are heavily influenced by fan demand, along with how unique the artworks are. But in terms of adding an awesome artwork in your collection for a pretty reasonable price, you cannot really go wrong with this Aegislash. Also, Aegislash has an awesome typing of Steel Ghost, which truthfully doesn't mean much for its value, but it is awesome to have it in your collection for how unique it is. Now, I do think as the years go on, a lot of these illustration rares also have the potential to slowly increase in price, especially as they become more scarce, because right now, Pokemon cards are not that scarce, right? Like, I think a lot of people don't realize just how popular Pokemon is and just how many Pokemon cards are being printed. Though, the people entering the hobby is also increasing by the day as well. So while today it seems like it's a lot of people, in 5 or 10 years, it's likely that the amount of people collecting now could look like only a fraction, so it's anyone's guess. Now, moving on to number 6, it is the Scizor illustration rare from Obsidian Flames. Now, there's a concept known as ace Pokemon, right? And ace Pokemon are a very important concept to understand when discussing Pokemon cards, because some Pokemon may be popular for a short period of time, but the issue is they lack that true fan demand, right? For example, Brute Bonnet is one of these. Brute Bonnet recently climbed high in price and then tanked pretty bad. And I mean, there's no disrespect to Brute Bonnet, but it just doesn't have that long-term fan demand, whereas Scizor does. Scizor is an OG Gen 2 Pokemon, especially with its unique trade evolution and the fact that it was evolved from Scyther, which was already a super beloved Gen 1 Pokemon. For this reason, this Scizor seems like a sensational card to add to any Pokemon collection, given how great the price is. Though you also do have to keep in mind that we do have Obsidian Flames reprints coming through, so it is something to consider for the near future. Now, moving on to number 5, it is the Magmortar from Crown Zenith Galarian Gallery. Now, Crown Zenith has some of the best Sword and Shield artworks, and it was seen as kind of the finale set for the Sword and Shield era, right? And it really did leave with a bang. However, the yellow borders of these Galarian Gallery cards are debated by a lot of people, and I do agree that the silver borders of the Scarlet and Violet era do make cards look a little bit more appealing and give the cards a little bit more of a sleek feel. Though this Magmortar artwork is great and it has a lot of personality, and it is a great card to add to any collection, especially since the price point seems super reasonable. Now, moving on to number 4, it is the Revavroom special illustration rare from Obsidian Flames. So Obsidian Flames has this really weird thing where all the illustration rares and special illustration rares are just super affordable. And yes, it does have some of the easiest pull rates out of any of the mainline sets. I mean, for example, pulling a Greninja from Twilight Masquerade is almost 4.5 times more challenging than this Revavroom. Though I have to say that the price point for a textured artwork honestly feels like a steal at this point. While we do have Obsidian Flames, which will be entering the market with more reprints, it still feels super well priced and is easily accessible, especially considering it is an SIR. Now, sitting at number 3, it is the Galarian Articuno from Crown Zenith Tints. Honestly, if this artwork was an alternate art in the Sword and Shield era, it would probably be so highly desired. The fact that it came in a tin and it was a guaranteed promo helped keep the price slightly at bay. Though I also feel because it does have yellow borders, it does impact the overall price, right? I mean, I was talking about yellow borders before, right? But yellow borders, for some reason, have this association with like an easy to acquire card. And I actually think that's why illustration rares have been able to climb to such heights, because in the Sword and Shield era, V and VMAX alternate arts had silver borders, which was the border assigned to more premium feeling cards, right? It always felt like yellow borders was like close, but not there yet. So because of this, I really do feel if this Articuno had silver borders like the Japanese version, we would have seen a very different price trajectory given how premium the silver borders feel. Though I do have to admit the artwork is absolutely amazing and it is a great one to add to your collection. Now in spot number 2, we have the Tapu Bulu illustration rare from Shrouded Fable. Now truth be told, most of Shrouded Fable's illustration rares are quite undervalued, and given the fact of Shrouded Fable's initial lukewarm reception, it will be interesting to see how it travels in a few years from today. I mean, the Pheasantipity illustration rare is also another artwork which really stands out, and truth be told, this is one of my favorite artworks from the Scarlet and Violet era. Though this Tapu Bulu definitely seems like an awesome pickup, and right now, it seems like Generation 7 is truly the forgotten Pokemon generation. Though I wouldn't be surprised that Gen 7 gets its love in a few more years when the nostalgia bakes in. Now, early in the video, I was speaking about market manipulation, manipulation, right? So some of these lower priced cards are usually the easiest targets for coordinated buyouts, which means kind of like a group of people can collectively decide to overpay and purchase multiple amounts of a single card. And once the price reaches a certain threshold, they dump it and sell it to acquire some of the profits. So some examples of this that just happened recently, you can actually see this with the Drowsy from Scarlet and Violet base. You can clearly see when the buyout happened and then the price retrace that happened after. And the same goes with the Baxcalibur from Paldea Evolved. So if you are new to the world of Pokemon collecting, it's very good to know that if you do see a card grow exponentially in price and it makes no sense whatsoever, there's always a chance there was a coordinated buyout. Now in the top position, we have the Eiscue Special Illustration Rare from Obsidian Flames. So this is an SIR. It's legitimately a special illustration rare, and the chance to pull this Eiscue is around 1 in 216 packs. Now, 216 packs is one entire case of Obsidian Flames, which is pretty wild. I mean, if you were hunting this card, that's the amount of packs you'd need to open to just pull this card. Though the artwork is cool, and even though it's not the biggest fan favorite, I think any special illustration rare at this price point is a great pickup, and it's something that we can't really overlook. And you know, during the Scarlet and Violet era, we've all really loved special illustration rares. That's what kind of made so many people come back to the world of Pokemon collectibles. And the whole reason why this hype era has even started, because how cool special illustration rares are, along with illustration rares. So definitely, while this Eiscue isn't the most expensive, it is awesome to see it at this fair price point. And you got to remember, it is quite difficult to pull. Though, you know, as I'm going over these cards, right, I think there's an important discussion that we need to have. And that is that Pokemon collecting should be a fun and enjoyable experience. And yes, while money is involved, it can always get messy, though it's very important to not get sucked into the hype and always collect at your own pace. And I think one question that comes up after all of this is, how do I collect my favorite Pokemon cards on a budget? And the answer to that question is right within this video here. Within this video on screen, I look over how to build a Pokemon collection while on a budget. If you love collecting and would love to learn more about that topic, then click the video that's appearing on screen and I'll see you there.